So it seems that Beast Betromoth, the blade that I was planning on reviewing today, um, it escaped. Yeah, I don't know how. The thing was huge. Uh, this is very bad. It's very dangerous because every second it's gone, it speeds up. So, wait, what was that? Hmm. So it appears it was so fast that it ended up hitting itself. Hmm. Well, we're in a treat for today, aren't we? So this is Beast Behemoth, or Beast Betromoth, at least in America, because Hasbro likes to corrupt names, isn't that right? Valtryek and Raktivor. Anyway, this blade was shown in Burst Season 1 and was owned by Ben Mizuki. He's the captain of whatever the team name was that also had Kin. I don't remember his last name, but that's not really important right now. What is important are the parts of this blade. Alright, let's start with the layer, Betromoth. As you see, it has 5 blades. Yep. Anyway, under these 5 blades are also 5 more blades. Yep. I haven't really tested this blade out on anything else besides the style combo, so I'm useless in this area in determining if it's good or not. Besides slope-wise, before the video I did test out its slopes and they were fine. Just fine. Some combos, they were a little bit tight, some they were a little loose. It's so-so. I would end up having to go back and actually test it out, but I don't care too much about Betromoth. But let me quickly talk about this design. It's ugly, but I guess that's kind of the point. Actually, I don't care about that anymore. Let's just move on. The disc is heavy. Literally, that's not only the name, but it is heavy. Well, at least back when it was first released. Nowadays, it's been outclassed by Zero and Double O, and I think Wheel. I know the Japanese version will, but I don't know about the Hasbro version. But considering a lot of people use it in combos, it's safe to assume that. Personally, I prefer Gravity, but, this one's a lot easier to get than Gravity, I assume. Use it if you want, but Double O and Zero are even easier to get than Heavy. So you might as well just use those. And lastly, the best of them all, Hold. Hold is the opposite of the name. It doesn't hold to anything. If you were to hold it, it would rip your hands off. Because this thing is aggressive. It's all thanks to this spinning plate, I assume. See, in the anime, the gimmick was that when it was launched, it'd get faster over time, but apparently, according to science, it's impossible to do that. Accordingly, of course. I wouldn't know. I slept through all my classes. Anyway, it will go from its minimum to maximum in the anime, but in real life, it would be its maximum all the way until it eventually loses stamina faster than any rubber tip that I've ever seen. Now, if you want to get off that anime effect, just bank shot it or make sure it gets hit, because then it will go from maximum to minimum to its maximum speed until it eventually bursts. Yeah, this is very loose. Put all this together and you get a fun bay to play with, but one that you're going to be losing with most of the time. Since the slopes on this is mediocre, and the springs on this are quite loose, it's gonna be a very quick battle. And because of how this driver is designed, it will be going out of the pocket I mean, into the pocket, but actually out of the pocket too, a lot. And it is very hard to bank shot, sliding shoot, flash launch. All of them are difficult because of this right here. But hey, at least they had the gimmick. It's not good, but it's fun. Thinking about it a little more, I decided to add a little combo section to my actual Blade reviews. Now, like I said, I don't really feel like dabbling with Betromoth right now, nor Heavy, and the main event of this is really Hold because of how weird it is, so I decided to make a combo using Hold. Introducing Raid Luinor, Zero Wall, Hold. Now, if it wasn't already evident by the fact that it was using Heavy, this combo itself is meant to be heavy. The only difference is that it is really heavy. I could have used double O, but I don't care. I just picked whatever was up. But the job is still done either way because this is, well, it's heavy. I want this to be a heavy attacker. Also, this layer is the largest layer I own, and one that isn't banned in tournaments, specifically limited. So, with that aside, the entire gimmick of this is if this was on anything light, it'd go into the pocket, but with some really heavy equipment on it, it will control it a little bit. And because it has a 50% chance of going into a pocket or actually staying in the stadium, I used a raid to push the opposing base out of the arena because of how wide it is. Since it's wider, it would have a much larger range to do its job. Now, of course, there are some flaws. The first problem is the fact that I'm using heavy. Second problem is that I'm using Luinor, but I don't know any Speedstorm left spinning chips that are actually good slope-wise. Or at least I do, I just can't think of any or be bothered to think of any. But of course, I actually did test this out with the first stamina bay that I found, which was Air Knight, as in on the top of my pile of bays. Now, I probably should have used something heavier. Keep in mind that this has 12 on it. Then again, it also has a frame on it, so think what you will of that. But it had an okay win percentage. It won a few times, but it lost more than a few times. Now, it did what it was supposed to do. It did get out of the pocket. It did go into the pocket. I don't think it actually went out of the pocket like it would if it was just a stock combo. But it did push this out of the stadium, but more than often than not, it either could not get in a good attack or bursted. Weak slopes, weak springs. But it was a fun combo to mess with. Overall, the Bay may suck, but it is pretty fun to deal with. So, unless you're an experienced blader, you probably shouldn't use it in tournaments, or even for fun. Let's be honest, kids back in the 90s used to think that when their Pokemon lost a battle, they died. So, maybe you should also use this for fun. But other than that, yeah. Next review will be Evipro E2. It was literally the first blade that I pulled out of my collection. It was originally going to be Air Knight, but that would be too easy. Also, this blade sucks too. But after this, I think I'm going to switch to Bakugan for a little bit, and then maybe do a Beatemon review. I only got like 4, one of which is broken. But I'll eventually go back to doing the Beyblade reviews. This will probably come out Saturday. Let's be honest. I wanted to do these things Friday. I'm too lazy. Can you blame me?